I'm Jordan Stone with The Good Ride, and I ride all the women's boards to tell you whether or not you should ride them. Today I get to talk about a crowd favorite, the Burton storyboard. This is maybe one of the boards that I got more impact from my fellow female femme riders than I did anything else. So I had to get a chance to get on it and see how it feels. I am constantly on the lookout for a women's aggressive board that rival men's boards, and I can say this board is up there. I got a chance to ride a 147 storyboard on multiple days with a variety of conditions, from soft groomed, hard ice packed, even some 4 to 5 inches of fresh snow off-piste. It was tested with my Kinsley boots and Union Trilogy bindings to accommodate that boot sizing.
And if you want to support The Good Ride and buy through a snowboarders only shop, check out our sponsor, Blower Board Shop. They have a wide variety of snowboard gear, and they do everything the big stores do in terms of price matching, in terms of fast shipping, great support, great knowledge. Check them out, buy through our links. It helps The Good Ride tremendously.
The Burton storyboard comes in 3 sizes, a 42, a 47, and a 52. And this gives kind of a wide variety for some women, but there's not a ton of sizes outside of that. If you do like to ride a bigger board, bigger than a 152, you may want to look at something different, but this board's pretty aggressive. Pros of the storyboard: comfortable on snow, fast, holds a car very, very well. Cons: base glide needs work. It has limitations when it comes to edge holds, and it is an aggressive board. It definitely requires experience and some mid-season to late season strength. The Burton storyboard features one of Burton's favorite shapes, the directional free ride shape. This consists of a 10mm taper from nose to tail. The free ride shape allows the rider to center the stance on the board and gives this directional shape an actual twin-like feel. As is with many of Burton's intermediate to aggressive boards, the storyboard features a directional camber profile. The camber sits under the feet and transitions to a rocker nose. This gives the board a stable feel on snow, especially with speeds. The camber profile can give this board a catchy feeling, however, when the conditions switch to tracked out or when a rider begins to feel fatigued. For this reason, I would recommend this board for advanced to expert riders who are comfortable with camber profiles and enjoy a more aggressive riding experience. Since I don't have the board right in front of me, let's talk about that flex personality. This board is ranked as a high, medium to stiff flex. It maintained its stability during fast and forceful maneuvers and kept me feeling really confident at higher speeds. It did, however, require a bit of effort in tighter, more reactive turns. It created thigh burn when really pushing into the turns, and I noticed that when I kind of like opened up and let it go through off-piste terrain that required quick maneuvers. By the end of it, I was burning, definitely feeling the fatigue. However, the torsional flex actually felt soft. It allowed me to push and pull or a gas pedal with ease. This made that riding experience much more enjoyable. So the storyboard has a good edge hold through a variety of speeds and a variety of turning radiuses. However, the edge hold did seem to fail on quick high-speed maneuvers or prolonged holds such as long cross-run carves. This is especially true when the snowpack turned hard or icy. I noticed that my edge held better when I rode back foot dominant and kept my weight in the back of the board throughout the turn, which makes sense because this is a directional free ride board. Sitting back a little further, I could hold into that edge and I could keep a little bit more weight on that edge. The board actually handled pretty well on uneven snow. The shape and stance kept the front of the board elevated, and the flex personality allowed the board to charge through tracked out snow and tracked out conditions. The riding experience became less enjoyable with fatigue, and again, this goes back to that aggressive nature of this board. Once you do start to feel tired, either early season or you're coming down from, few hours, 5 hours if you can, of riding, the board started to actually buck me a little bit and felt a little bit out of control. So I tend to prefer boards that like to go fast. It is in my nature to want to go into the front of the pack. And this board did not disappoint at all. It allowed me to feel really confident and to charge ahead in front of the rest of the boys. Now, if only the edge hold could handle the speeds that this board is capable of, it would be the perfect advanced women's board. That's a common consensus. That's what all the women I talked to said. It's a fast board. It likes to go fast. But if you need to do a quick stop, which is necessary when you go fast, it just doesn't hold and it usually washes. It's really unfortunate. Now let's talk about the base glide on the storyboard. Burton uses something called a centered base. This is an example of their eco-friendly base. This base performs better with frequent weather-specific waxing. And let's be honest, when compared to other women's aggressive boards, this one falls a little bit short. I would be really curious to see how this board would handle if they improved their base on that base glide and you didn't have to be on a regular tuning basis because it's already a really fast board and really stable. I'd love to see a little improvement on that glide. There is something to be said about a women's aggressive specific board. They really don't come around that often. I am someone who tends to ride men's board because I want to ride something that I can't find the limits to. The flex, the width of the storyboard, and the sizing all came together to give this board a great turning experience. I was actually happy to say, compared to the unisex boards I tried with Burton, the storyboard was my favorite. I enjoyed it. It felt like it was made for a woman, but it was made for a woman that wanted to charge. It's an aggressive board. It requires high effort to keep it in control and technical riding in tight terrain. Fatigue and lack of experience would greatly impact the rider's ability and the rider's experience on this board. So my experience with this board in powder, I had mild powder day, 5 to 6 inches, again off-piste, so it was about 5-6 inches of fresh with some soft underneath. So I got a good feel for how it felt, good feel for how the board reacted in snow. That setback camber profile, the significant rocker in the nose, gave this directional board the versatility of an all-mountain board. That included being able to handle modest powder days. It also has a pretty significant taper, and when you set back the stance from center, you can get over 3.5 inches of extra nose. The taper is going to allow the tail to drop, the nose to lift, less leg burn on the back when you get into more of a back foot surfy feel in powder. As a directional board, the storyboard actually handled really well in a freestyle setting. It is a centered twin stance and gave it a more neutral feeling underfoot and also allowed the board to handle well switch. The shorter tapered tail did feel a little bit off in switch, and then sometimes it would actually cause the board to want to switch back. So just be mindful of that if you are a switch rider or if you're somebody who wants to do some natural hits in the land switch. That space is a little bit short-lived. That taper, that setback camber kind of makes the board want to flip back around. A big point for me when I look at something that's an all-mountain board to see if it goes into a freestyle is how well it compounds energy when you are ollieing or when you're going into a jump. The storyboard, when you compressed the board to get into an ollie, it actually did compound that energy. So the more you put into it, the more it popped out. This requires strength and a more aggressive nature, but you get out of it double full what you put into it. So it gave it a really great pop. Take that off-groomed and you're gonna have a really good freestyle off-groomed. If you take it in the park off of jumps, you're also gonna find that you're gonna be able to clear jumps a little bit easier if you have the strength to support that. I would not recommend this board for rails, as a reverse camber in the nose could throw you from the rail. If you're interested in a park-specific board or rail-specific board, check out the Feel Good or the Talent Scout from Burton, as both of those boards are a twin shape and they give you a more centered stance for rails. So final thoughts on the storyboard, the long-awaited storyboard and the talk of the day. There is a reason why Burton keeps the storyboard in the women's lineup year after year. It appeals to the experienced female rider, especially someone who wants an aggressive all-mountain board but doesn't necessarily want to ride a twin board. It handles a wide variety of turns, it feels comfortable at slower speeds, and when you really want to open up and push your skills and your speed, this board maintains its stability, keeps the rider feeling confident. However, the edge hold is challenged in icy conditions and at high speeds, and the aggressive flex, personality, and camber profile requires significant effort and experience. If you're an intermediate rider and pushing your riding to the next level, consider sizing down or making this board your morning ride board, at least until your strength and your skill level improves. Expect to progress with this board. It is hard to find its limits.